Hello everyone, this is StrawberryShorty here with a brief review of Spirit Seasons, Little Ghost Story. So, I said this during my playthrough, but I do really love this title screen. The in-game graphics are not bad, but they're nowhere near as like good and haunting as you'd think looking at this screen. I don't know where to start with this. I would say that the game is not very long. On casual, which is the easiest difficulty, all of the hidden object scenes are exactly the same, while other games will, like, if you were to replay them, you'd get different items. Here it's always the same items. I ended up skipping most of the puzzles, like, not even that they were hard, that I just ended up finding myself just kind of irritated and not wanting to do them. That just might be me, though. But by far the biggest problem with this game is just the numerous typos and just poorly worded dialogue. I mean, there's some funny dialogue. Like, our main character can examine stuff, which, you know, I like, and she makes some funny comments. I mean, I'm assuming we're a girl, I guess I don't really know. But just, like, so much of the dialogue is that there's missing words, like, the characters will almost never say things like can't or don't. It will be cannot, do not. They use overly complicated language. Things are worded weirdly. And then, like, the story doesn't make sense. The game has two endings, I'll say that much. And you make a big decision at the end that triggers which ending you get. But you can't reload from before the choice. Like, once you've made the choice and you try to play again, you'll have to start over from the beginning, which seems really stupid. But, like, I don't know that either ending was really answered the big question that you're kind of faced with. And they keep referencing a certain thing in the endings that doesn't make any sense. Like, I've mentioned it after beating the game that I'm going to be doing a brief spoiler section for this to address that, but in terms of gameplay, like I already said, the hidden object scenes are mostly, they're always like the same. They're not super difficult. There were a few problems I had, but for the most part, they're not really that difficult. One feature I do love that this game has is that first, if an item is not visible, like if it's hidden in something, it will be a different color. Because, like, you know, I've played some games, like I think Queen of Spades did not do that, so you'd be like, where is this item? And then it turns out, oh, it's in something. And when there's an item that you can open or interact with, your icon will change when you hover over it, so you're not just stuck clicking around blindly. Another feature that I like is if you hover your cursor over the item's name in the list, it will show you a silhouette of it, which can be really helpful for finding an item when you have some idea what to look for. I didn't really run into any items here where I didn't know what they were, but it's still helpful to have some idea what you're looking for. If you click too much, your cursor becomes unusable for a time. That's not different. Like, a lot of hidden object games do that. I will say I did think it lasted a little too long here. Also, like with most games like this, when you complete a hidden object scene, you get an item. But here they do this really tedious thing where the item, like, spins around and then ends up in your inventory, and it takes just a little too long. So, like, I don't think this game is worth the price. I ended up using it, I got it off Big Fish Games with a coupon code, so for me it was free. And this is a game that does not have a collector's edition, because you can't use those coupon codes for a collector's edition, so, like, you know, it's not a terrible purchase for that, but definitely not a great game. Like, your car gets stranded outside this mansion and you're dealing with this little ghost girl, and just nothing really happens, nothing really makes sense, and it's just a lot of poor dialogue. Like, visually it's not terrible, there's some good humor, but just not really anything to it. So I'm gonna do a brief spoiler section now, so if you haven't played the game and maybe want to, like, click off the video. So, kind of a big focus is trying to find out who is behind this little girl, Agatha's death. She's very mischievous and causes you a lot of problems, and she's also causing a lot of problems for Jacob, who is the man that lives in the mansion. And he was apparently a servant that worked for her family, and he and his wife were supposed to look after her while her parents were away. Her parents never ended up coming home, they died, and Agatha's sole comfort was her doll, Diana, that they had left her before, the last gift they gave her before they went away and never came back. And so she's in the care of the two servants, Jacob and his wife Emily, and she was, according to them, a nightmare. Because she was this troubled little girl who just lost her parents. And apparently Jacob came to really hate her, especially since Emily was, like, drinking antidepressants and whatever, and just in really bad shape. And one or both of them, Jacob or Emily, took Agatha's doll that her parents had given her and threw it into the lake that is pictured on the screen. Even though Agatha couldn't swim, she jumped into the lake after the doll, and Emily jumped in to try and save her, even though she had a strong phobia of water. And this is where it gets kind of confusing, because Jacob was apparently, like, there, and he tried to save them by, like, lowering the water in the dam, like, pulling that lever there. But, like, was he not there right away? Because Agatha drowned, and though he tried to save Emily, she ultimately drowned too. And he afterwards hid the surveillance tape, never destroyed the surveillance tape for some reason. Like, hiding it I understand, but why wouldn't you destroy it? Why would it still be there for us to find? And then, like, so the whole kind of overwhelming thing is that Agatha feels like Jacob murdered her by throwing her doll into the lake, knowing full well that she'd try to get it. And Jacob feels that, you know, though that's not true, we wanted her alive, because, like, we get this big payout if she makes it to 18. I had no motive, even though he has a diary full of stuff condemning this girl. And so you end up retrieving the doll, and you decide who to give it to, Jacob or Emily, or Jacob or Agatha. And I chose to give it to Agatha on my playthrough. And if you give it to Agatha, it allows her to seemingly be at peace. The little epilogue thing you get afterwards says that she genuinely repented for Emily's death. And this is the thing that doesn't make sense. Something about a child's prank gone wrong. And Jacob gets arrested and, like, has a heart attack in prison and something, and is, like, released to suffer the rest of his arrest at home. And our protagonist has, like, these dreams about Agatha's spirit in the graveyard with a mysterious smile. And then, like, if you give the doll to Jacob, it's like, oh, Agatha's prank cost Emily her life, so it's all her fault, and that can't just be forgiven, and she's, like, banished to the other side, and, like, let the higher powers deal with her. And Jacob, like, burns the evidence and nails the doll to the wall, and our protagonist instead has dreams of him doing rituals, and so neither outcome really provides any closure or any answers. And it's like, what's all this stuff about a prank? What prank did Emily pull? Or I keep calling her Emily, Agatha. Like, Jacob never says, oh, we didn't throw the doll in the lake or anything like that, so I'm not sure what this prank is supposed to be. It doesn't really seem like Agatha actually did anything wrong, because whatever this prank is, we're never told about it prior to her epilogue. So it's like, it just kind of seems like Jacob was the bad guy. I don't know. But I've rambled on long enough. That's all I've really got to say about this game. I don't know if anyone else here has beaten it and wants to share their thoughts. But thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye!